and welcome back to another video. So today I have Botanicum by Maria Trolle. I absolutely love working in this coloring book, and my Neocolor 2s. I thought it would be fun to sit down and experiment with my Neocolors and see what else I can do with them just using them in a coloring book. I just recently did a video where I showed you how to create flowy, ripply water, and I'll link that one in the upper right hand corner. And I've also done lots of background tutorials with these. I absolutely love them. And so I wanted to pull them out because I don't get to use them that often. Use them in this coloring book and just focus on coloring the full page with Neocolors. And I don't know if I'm going to come in and use colored pencils over them. I might experiment a little bit with that, but I really wanted to just use Neocolors, play around with them, and use them for a full page. So I started a page in here and I thought, let me turn the camera on so I could share with you what I'm doing, because it's been a lot of fun and it's turning out really nice. If you check the description box down below, I will have everything down there that you see in this video, as well as links to my Etsy shop, my Facebook group, and my Patreon if you'd like to support me there. I also now have channel membership. If you would like to find more out about that, you can click the join button down below this video. Now I started on this page. Now I am going to show you what I've been doing, the colors that I've been using, and how I'm using my brand new Derwent water brush. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I've always used the Derwent brushes. Here are the previous ones that I had, and they always have worked really, really well. They come in 3 different sizes. These come in 4 different sizes, and I'm really enjoying them. And I really think the only difference is that this one you push here, this one just has this part here where you can push it. I'm really not sure what the other differences would be, aside from this one comes with 1 extra size. But if you're familiar with water brushes and you've tried quite a few of them, you probably know that some of them do leak. And I have purchased others that I've had issues with leaking, but I've never had that issue with Derwent, and that's why I really, really love these. And I feel like the water brushes are fantastic to use with my Neocolors or my Derwent ink tints, especially if I'm coloring in a coloring book, because it helps me to really control the amount of water that I'm using. When I'm using just a regular handheld paintbrush, I feel like it's much harder for me to control the amount of water that is on the brush. Now with this particular book by Maria Trolle, it does have the glossary in the back of the book, and I did look up what kind of flower this is, and when I saw that they were beautiful, like hot pink or purpley pink colors, I was so excited to color this. So I did choose colors that were the color of the actual plant that this is. And I think the actual scientific name is an Echinacea purpurea. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And then in quotations it has razzmatazz. I don't know if that may have to do with the actual beautiful shades of pink. But I've also seen on Google where they're calling it a coneflower, so I guess this would be a pink coneflower. So I did pick 4 different colors. I do have the actual swatch chart, so I went with the purple violet, the purple, the pink, and the salmon pink. And I have just been sort of alternating colors. Now with the Neocolors, I did read that they don't set after they dry. So if you want to come back and rework them, you can do that. So if you're used to using something like Derwent ink tints, where it's more of a pigment or an ink that sets, and then you can come back and layer over the top of them, these are a little bit different. So that's where I'm wondering if I'm going to have to grab my colored pencils and layer my colored pencils over this just to get a little bit more depth and dimension. But just looking at some of these, I'm seeing where I may need to come back and rework them, because it doesn't look like the colors blended together as well as I would have wanted them to, where I used the salmon pink and the much darker shade of purple. What was that one called? Violet, I think. Purple violet. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going around and alternating the colors, and I'm adding my darker color anywhere that one of these, I guess these are petals, although they look like leaves, but but I'm just using a combination of 2 of the colors out of the 4 for every one of these petals. So I'm just laying down the darker color, and then I'm coming in with the lighter color and blending it into that color. And there are many different ways that you can use the Neocolors. If I wanted to wet my brush and then apply it, I could do that as well. After it dried, if I wanted to add some of the darker color, I could probably do that as well and add some of the darker shade And I will try that a little bit further into the video after I get some of this color down. But I'm trying not to lay two colors that are the same on petals that are right next to one another. So here I'm using the much darker purple, or the purple violet, and I'm putting that next to what they're calling purple, although that really does not look like purple to me. It looks more like a very hot pink. So I'm going to lay some of this over here, and then again I'm just going to go over it with the pink. And for some of these I'm using the salmon pink, and some of them I'm using the pink. And I really just wanted to experiment a little bit with this today and see how it turns out. So now I went ahead and grabbed the purple and the salmon pink, and I'm going to try to use these together in some of these leaves down here. So again, I'm just laying it at the top, laying the darker color at the top, and then blending in the lighter color. And as you can see, the tips of my Neocolors are not very sharp, and I haven't sharpened them yet, only because when I do sharpen them, I want to have a little tray or something to put the shavings in. And I couldn't find a little tray to be able to do that. I need to find something where I can do that, because I want to save the shavings and I don't want them to be all mixed together. So if you have the Neocolors, you probably know that once you do sharpen them, you can take the shavings and set them aside, and you can actually use them by dipping your brush into them. And that's what I want to be able to do. So I think I'm going to have to get some kind of little tray or something, or maybe one of those craft dishes that has a bunch of different sections, like little square sections in it, and then maybe label it by colors and add my shavings into there as I start sharpening my Neocolors. I just haven't gotten that far with them yet. I really haven't gotten to use these a whole lot yet, and that's why I pulled them out today. I want to start pulling out some of the art supplies that I have that I don't get to use that often, because these are actually one of my absolute favorite art supplies. I really, really love them. And anytime I pull them out and use them, whether it's to do a background or create special effects on a coloring page, I really enjoy using them, and I love how it turns out. I think for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use the darker purple so it stands out a little bit more. And I think just by alternating some of the colors, it's going to make it look really cool. Now I have the Derwent water brush, and I'm going to show you how I use the water brush for these. But with the water brush, I just squeeze here until I see the water come down. You can actually see it. I'll hold this up a little closer, but you can see the water coming down through here. And then as you saw, it just dropped off the brush. But I don't want that much water on my brush, especially in the coloring book. So I'm just going to dab some of that off onto my napkin. And I always keep this napkin off to the side so that after every one of these petals, I can take the darker color off of it, because I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to blend that color in right here and move to the top. And then I'm going to wipe off my brush. See how some of that darker color came off? I don't want that darker color to go into the next petal, so that's why I'm doing this. And when you're using these in a coloring book, you want very little water, and that's why I like using the water brushes. Like I said, you can control the amount of water much easier than if you're using a regular brush. So again, I'm starting at the bottom and I'm moving up into the darker color, and I'm going to go through and do this with every one of these. The color lightens up, or this darker color anyway, really lightens up a lot once I add the water to it. So I'm trying to see if maybe I could just dab it and add some water here. Yes, that worked a lot better. So I'm blending out the lighter color and we're moving up into the darker color. And I'm just doing a little bit of that dabbing technique, kind of made up by me. And then I'm gonna go up into the darker color, just like that. And I'm doing this on every single one. And yes, you can definitely come back and rework these. This one, I think I had already added water to, and I just came back and went over that again, and it helped to blend that in a lot better than what it was. This one already had water on it as well. And you could see by me just going over it one more time, it blended those colors together a lot better. Kind of hard to tell which ones I've gone over and which ones I haven't. And I think this one was already done, but that helped to just spread the color out a little bit more. And on some of these, I do want to keep a lighter tip on the petal, like this one right here, for instance, where it's a lot lighter. I'm doing that on purpose because I want that to act as a little bit more of a highlight. But I feel like this is a fun way to really get your color down on the paper a lot faster, because this definitely took me a lot less time to do than it normally would. So now you can see I'm coming back and I'm trying to rework some of these, and it is getting a much better blend between that dark purple and the lighter color. I will say that this Derwent water brush seems to be flowing a lot better than the other ones I had. It's actually feeding the water down without me having to squeeze it again, and it's actually a really nice flow. But I actually got these new water brushes for my Derwent ink tints because y'all know how much I love the Derwent ink tints, but I thought I'd pull them out and use them for the Neocolors, and they seem to be working really, really well. So I don't think I used yet a combo of the purple with the pink. I think I used the purple with the salmon pink. So now I'm gonna go ahead and use the purple along with the pink, and maybe that will get me a little bit of a better blend between the two colors. Now I am trying to make sure that I add enough of this color down so that when I come back with the water, it blends out really nicely. I have found with these, the more that you lay down, the better blend that you do get. And so right here, since I used the lighter, what they're calling purple, I'm gonna use this darker purple violet right next to it, so this way you don't see two colors the same next to one another. And I'm gonna bring it all the way down on this petal, and then I'm gonna come over here and do the one just below it. And now I'm coming back with the pink, and I'm going to blend it into that color and pull it all the way down on all of these. Okay, so in all of these little spaces where there is just nothing, I'm going to add the darker purple, which is actually purple violet, into these spaces. Now I'm going to get the other combo that I have, which is the purple and the salmon pink, and I'm going to use this in the petal here that is in between the other petals, just so that the color variation is a little bit different. And I don't know how much of this I'm going to get done today in this video. Of course, if I continue with it, I'm gonna have to cut out a lot of parts, but I'll probably speed it up to music just so y'all can see it come to life. I think it looks really cool when it's sped up and you can see everything coming together. And when I watch it, it's kind of relaxing for me to sit and watch. So I don't feel like I'm the only one that would feel that way. Wondering if I should change up my colors yet. Let me go ahead and use this on these lower bottom half ones. And I think I'm going to switch it up again. I'm going to still use the pink, but I'm going to get the darker purple. And I'm going to add some of this right in here. And then I'm going to blend the salmon pink into it. See right here where I've got that lighter pink, I'm going to use this darker color right next to it again to create that separation between the two colors. But you can see how quickly this is working to finish this page. I mean, if I sat and just worked on this today, I could probably have it done in the next couple hours, just because I'm using Neocolors and I'm not using colored pencils and applying layer after layer after layer. Of course, if I wanted to grab my colored pencils and I wanted to use those to be a little bit more creative and see what I could do with those and add a little bit more depth to this, it probably would take me a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and grab this lighter color and blend it into that purple violet. This again is what they're calling purple, and I'm going to blend it into that purple violet, and then I'm going to use the pink or the salmon pink to pull all this together. So in this one particular petal, I've got all three colors. And then for this one, hanging down right here, I'm just going to fill that in with the purple violet, and then I'm going to use the pink violet down and behind here to go around it. And so essentially I'm just alternating my colors as I go around the whole entire thing so that I don't have two colors that are the same sitting right up against one another. So let's go ahead and get the water brush and start blending some of this out. Again, I'm gonna squeeze here onto the water brush until I see the water coming down. And then if you can see the brush, you could see the water come off of it. And then I'm just going to do this because I don't want a whole lot of water on my brush. And you can see that I do have a piece of paper back here behind the page. And so this way it won't go onto the other page that is behind it. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to the page directly on the other side because this book does not have one-sided pages, but I've never really had an issue. I've used Inktense and water-soluble mediums a lot in this book. And if I want to use water, I generally pull out one of the Maria Trolle books because I know that they handle the water really well. And also the Hannah Carlson books, I like those too and use water a lot in those books. And I feel the paper can handle it as long as you're really careful with how much water you actually use. And that's why I like using the water brushes, just because I can control the amount of water that I'm using and it's not laying a crazy amount of water down on the page so that they get all ripply. Oh, I love these colors. They're so pretty. I'm going to try to blend these two colors here a little bit better. I just absolutely love how this is turning out though. I may sit here and finish this page today. I don't know yet. I haven't gotten to sit down and color in a while. Today I just wanted to use my Neocolors and not pull out my colored pencils. I mean, I may end up pulling them out. I don't know yet, but it's fun to use different mediums together, just as much as it's fun to use new mediums or pull out some of your coloring supplies that you haven't used in quite a while. Now I'm going to go with the purple, violet, and the pink, and I'm going to come back up here. Actually, I think I'm going to come down here. I have to be very careful not to lay the color right next to something that is still wet, because if I do, it will spread into that other petal, and I want to avoid that. So I'm just laying the purple violet for now, and then I'll come back with the lighter color. Okay, so now I have the lighter color, and I'm just going to finish them off. Again, being very careful that I don't go into some of these that are still wet. But I'm trying to pull my color all the way up to the tip of that petal there and make sure that I cover all the way to the paper. And even though I haven't sharpened these, they're still quite easy to work with. And let's go ahead and blend these out. It's kind of hard to tell which ones I've gone over and which ones I haven't. I feel like that's okay because if I go over one that I've actually already used the water on, it just moves the color around a little bit more, which I really kind of like. I feel like that's either going to work really well for you, but it could also work against you depending on what you're trying to achieve. So I'm going to go ahead and do some more of these. I'm going to speed it up to music so y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. And for those of you that want to use your Neocolors on this very simple page, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of these here in this video after that. So if you're following along and you want to do this as well, you can see how I lay the color down on these longer, much bigger spaces on the flower. So the whole top part of the flower is done, and I will say that I don't think I've ever finished anything that quickly. I definitely have never finished anything that quickly using just colored pencils. So I would say if you're looking to get a page done like in a day and you just want to knock it out, get it done, sit down and relax just for a little while, a page like this with not a whole lot on it, with a lot of background space, and then using something like the Neocolors or maybe even another water-soluble medium, it is probably a lot faster. So those of you that want to do this page and you're following along with the colors that I'm using and everything else, I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about doing these. And the rest of it, I'm probably going to do off camera, but I will share it as soon as it's done. As far as the hair goes, I'm probably going to go ahead and pull out my colored pencils because I feel like that would be quite difficult to do with Neocolors. I don't know. I'll decide when I get there. But I really have no idea what colors I'm going to color this adorable little fairy yet. It would be a lot of fun to do some really cool iridescent wings, I think. And then maybe even do the same thing on her dress. I don't know yet. We'll see. But let me go ahead and decide here really quick how I'm going to do these bottom petals that are very different than the top of the flower. I'm going to, I think, use the same colors. I think I'm going to go ahead and also grab the white. I think I'm gonna start here with the one towards the outside, and then after I decide how I'm gonna do these, then I will move to the ones that are a lot bigger. So I'm gonna start by laying down some of the white. Then I'm going to go into the salmon pink, and look how fast it is to cover one area with these. I absolutely love it. So let me come in now and lay this color. This is the purple, again what they're calling purple. Doesn't look like purple to me, but I'm gonna pull this down just a little bit further. I may actually get the darker color just to create a little bit more depth in here, and then maybe I'll add a little bit here and then leave that spot there for the white. I'm gonna blend this out, but again, I'm gonna squeeze down on my water brush until I see the water coming down and wait for it to pool up a little bit and come out on the brush, and then I'll just wipe it a little bit. So I'm gonna start with my lighter color, and I'm going to blend that out first. And I'm not touching the lighter yet. I'm gonna come here where I have the white, and I'm gonna pull that into the lighter color. And now I'm gonna come into the darker color. Oh, that really lightened it up once it blended into that white. So now I'm gonna add the water to this top part here. And I think I'm gonna wait for it to dry so I could blend it out a little bit more. The white seems to have really whitened up the darker color here. So I may need to come back and go over that, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next one. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay the white all here in the center. I think I'm gonna blend my salmon pink right into that a little bit and lay it over the top of the white and come all the way around, all the way down to the bottom. I think I need a little bit more of the lighter pink here on the outside. And then I'm gonna use the darker pink over here, and I'm trying to get a good blend of my colors, and I think I'm gonna bring this one all the way up. And you know what, I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab that darker color, and I'm gonna use that in here. And I think I'm gonna add a little bit right here and right around this other petal. And I wanna get a bit more of this down on this petal than I did on the other one so that it blends out a little bit better. I'm gonna blend some of my lighter color into the darker colors and still leave the white there. And I think I'm gonna add another layer of the white and kind of blend some of these out, and then some white down here. Okay, so let's see how this one turns out. I know I'm gonna have to go back over this one. So I'm gonna start here in the center, and I'm blending the white into the salmon pink, and then over here I'm gonna do the same thing. And now I'm gonna come over my darker pinks, and I'm kind of hoping that it just sort of flows into that other color. I think I need to go in an upward motion here and try to get a better blend. So really it's all about experimenting. If you just keep experimenting with these, especially when it's a new medium you're not really that familiar with, you tend to learn a lot quicker. But yeah, I think I like that one. I think I am going to have to grab some colored pencils though and add a little bit more to these, because I don't feel like there's a dark enough color in the Neocolor set to create the extra added depth and dimension that I'm looking for. So I may do that. If I pull my swatch chart out here, this is the darkest color that I'm using. I would have to go to this lilac color, and I don't know if that's gonna be way too dark. Okay, I went ahead and grabbed the lilac, and I'm gonna lay this color right over the other darkest color that I used. And I'm gonna do the same over here on the top of this petal. And at this point, I'm kind of just giving up on whatever the flower looks like. So I think I'm gonna kind of start doing my own thing here now, just to change it up a little bit. Okay, so let's see what happens after we go over these here. So let me go ahead and just wet this color, and I gotta spread it out just a little. And then I'm gonna do the same down here, and I'm kind of going in like a up and down motion and pulling the color around. Now I'm gonna come and go over the top part here. Okay, so I feel like for these bigger sections, I'm adding a little bit too much water, even though I'm trying to be really, really careful. So I'm actually going to put some of this color on the brush, and I'm gonna get a good amount of it on there. And now I'm gonna see what I can do with it. this way. So see, if I were to do that as a base, I would definitely need to grab my colored pencils. I don't like the way that these turned out, so I'm definitely going to fix those with my colored pencils. I'm going to do the same here with this color. This is the purple, and I am going to add a little bit of this color and blend it right in. So I think I like how this technique is working a little bit better for these larger sections. So this is the salmon pink, and I'm going to blend this one right into that color. Okay, so this worked out a lot better using this technique. And now I wish I would have done it like this for the bigger sections. That is super pretty. I think I'm going to add a little bit of white down at the bottom and maybe blend the white in with the salmon pink just to lighten it up a little. And I don't think that lightened it up a little bit. I like the color though, that's super pretty. And I like that one a lot better. So I think I like this technique better, and if I waited for it to dry and I just came back and added more of the darker color, I think I could get a pretty good amount of depth and dimension there. But I do think I need to pull out my colored pencils and do a little bit something more to these. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab the lilac, and I'm going to touch my brush to the tip and get the color on there. And I'm going to put this right here on this petal. Oh, that's super pretty. Okay, so what color can I blend into there? I think I'm going to use the salmon pink and get quite a bit on there and then blend that into the other color. Oh, I like that much better. Yeah, that technique is much better. But I'm still thinking that there's a little bit too much water. I don't want to add more water, so I probably am going to use that as a base on the rest of these and come back with my colored pencils and go over it after they dry. Okay, so I've got 3 Prismacolors here. I've got my Dahlia Purple, I think this is Mulberry, and my Pink Rose. I'm going to try to work on this one just a little bit and see what I can come up with. So let me see first how well the colored pencils lay down on top. This is my Dahlia Purple, and I'm going to come all the way down the side here. And then this is my Mulberry, and I'm going over that purple and blending it into the other color. And then I'm going to use my Pale Rose, and I'm going to blend those colors out just a little. Okay, so I think I'm going to finish this off camera after I close this video out, but I really had a lot of fun using the Neocolors. I will say it did work a lot better up here in the much smaller sections. But then when I got down here to the larger sections, you can see that it was a little bit too much water. I don't know if that was me or too much water in the water brush, but I did wipe off the water brush every single time before using it, but I guess because it's a bigger area, it is going to require a little bit more water. So you could see with the brush to the tip technique that it did work a lot better, and that helped me just to lay the base. I did come back and go over them with colored pencils, and I used the colors that I showed you previously, but then I went ahead and grabbed the lavender too and added a little bit of lavender in here, and I really love the little bit of difference that made. I think it's really pretty. So for the rest of these, I'm going to go over them and use the Neocolors as a base, and then I'm going to go over them with the colored pencils and add all the extra layers and the depth and dimension. But I think that worked really nicely. So now you know that you can use your colored pencils over your Neocolors and use the Neocolors just as a base. But I do love the way that it's coming along, and I'm going to go ahead and finish this. I most likely will do a Neocolor background since there's so much background space. And I'm thinking that I want to add a little bit more purple into this, maybe some blue purples. I think that would be really, really pretty, especially for the background. And then for her dress and the wings, I'm going to try to create an iridescent looking effect. But as I continue on this page, I will show you how it comes along. I'll probably share one in my Facebook group, or maybe I'll do a follow-up video. I don't know yet, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you check the description box of this video, I'll have everything down there that you've seen me use in this video. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Happy coloring. Bye.